So out of all of the spooky experiences and emotional moments in the show, do you have any that stand out to you the most looking back?
I
Um,
had a moment when we went to a strip club called the Palomino in Las Vegas. This is maybe the sixth or seventh episode, something like that. And these were some spirits that were being rude. And I am very scared of this kind of stuff. And I had a moment where I was like, you know what? I'm in Las Vegas. And I stood up to these ghosts and I reminded them, you get to haunt a strip club. I just went to some horrible places you could be haunting. This is a great place to haunt. If you want to stay here, you better act correct. And that was very empowering for me.
I totally can see that. I mean, of all the places, there's so many probably different people that come in from all over the world. You'd think like Vegas, the spirits would be happy about that.
You would think.
Totally.
Try haunting an abandoned hospital, you know, like some of these places we went to. You're in a strip club in Vegas, babe.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Right. So, Kristen Stewart is the executive producer on this show. What was it like working with her? And did you try to get her involved in the ghost hunting at all?
I mean, a little bit here and there. She was really wonderful to work with and super understanding. I mean, it was a very intense experience because we're pushing our own boundaries as far as how scared we can be sleeping in these extremely haunted locations. Right. And she was there for filming a couple of the episodes, and it was really great having her there. And just having somebody who was interested in the paranormal and had an outside view that she could bring to us as we were going through it ourselves.
It was so funny because Kristen is so, I didn't realize how into the paranormal she was, but she would always come find us and be like, that was crazy. I can't believe. She's like, good on you for doing it. That's you. But she loved it, but she don't want to hunt with us. You know, she wants to watch it from the back, which is great, but she was awesome.
Yeah.
We don't know how she did this, but a lot of times when we would be just out there, we'd be sitting in the RV driving and we would just hear her voice. It would just come through somehow. She definitely has magical powers.
Yeah.
Interesting. So she was like coming through like the GPS or something? Like she was coming through the car?
We don't know. We still can't figure that one out.
Turn left to the Copper Queen.
So it's obviously a scary time for the queer and drag community. While traveling to some of these locations, were you concerned at all about your safety or experience pushback from filming from any locals?
Yes, absolutely. Luckily, we didn't have too much of a problem. I think if anyone locally knew that we were there, they knew that we were doing like a ghost hunting show, but I don't know that they knew all of those details about us. I would say my biggest fear when we were doing this was more so having to deal with ghosts and demons and that sort of a thing. I wasn't too focused on the living people while we were out there, but very, very grateful for that.
You know, some of these towns we were in some big cities, some smaller towns, but it was definitely interesting because we are a very unique group of people that when we would go into these towns to investigate, you know, it kind of, you know, word kind of traveled. So, but it was exciting. It was, to me, being who we are and standing firm in who we are inspires people. Even in those little towns who may feel like nobody else sees them, you know, us being brave and standing true, that's gonna inspire them. So you know, it's a sacrifice I was willing to make.
Yeah, and I totally agree with them. And us being together made it a lot easier too.
I think people were staring at us anyways in these smaller towns because we were new people, we had camera crews, whatever. And I mean, I didn't read into it too much, but yeah, I mean, we went to places where very small towns where we did get some side eye, you know, but whatever.
Part of it.
You owned it. Yeah. So it's safe to say this is not your average ghost hunting show, as it mixes scares with a lot of heart. I was like, you know, terrified one minute and then like crying the next. How did it feel to help others heal? And were you able to find healing for yourself at all in the process?
I can speak for myself. It very much as a psychic, I hear people's stories and the trauma they've been through and helping them grow. So that was a beautiful part, watching people have these transformative moments within themselves. But also for me, it was a time to really focus and go sort of inward. And we were isolated pretty much because we had each other, but we were in these totally sort of remote places. And it was a time to really remember who we are and why we do it.
Mhm. Yeah, I love being there and being able to validate other people's experience. And through the process, I've really come into my own confidence just through other people and the experiences that we had together, because it was very heartfelt and we did talk about a lot of very heavy things, which I think is important because the show really covers the wide topic of the haunting. It has to do with the people and it has to do with their stories. And I think that makes the show really special. It stands out.
Yeah.
I couldn't answer it better than either of them.
I love that. So last question. How well did you guys know each other before the show? And how are those bonds strengthened throughout this experience?
We had a good month and a half or so from the time we first met until we left on the road. And we made it a definite effort to call each other and talk nonstop and get to know each other. So by the time we did start traveling, we already had inside jokes and, whatever. We knew a lot about each other. And then, plop a bunch of people in a clown-themed haunted motel in the middle of nowhere. You're going to get to know each other real quick. So we have now become very close friends, and it's real. And it's a very unique thing that we have as a bond that you really can't shake.
True. It's true. We've been through so much together and it's really strengthened our friendship.
I love that.
I love these people.
It almost seems like a family to me. You guys have like a family vibe.
Yeah, and we also have the queerness side of it too. And I think when you're queer and you're a weirdo or you're into just, stuff that's a little offbeat, I think when you find your people, you relate on such a deep level.